Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. My name is Silky Feather, and you can call me Silky. We're going to continue with our book, Unfuck Your Habitat. You Are Better Than Your Mess, by Rachel Hoffman. Read by Emily Woo Zeller.
Moving. You're moving! That's so great! Oh, wait, no. It's the other thing. Terrible. Moving is absolutely terrible. And everyone who does it swears they'll never do it again. Until they do. It's exhausting, tedious, frustrating, and basically the worst. It's awful, and everyone knows it. It doesn't have to be, though. You can move without it being the worst, most stressful thing you can experience. It can be relatively painless if you're well prepared and well organized. And you can be. Starting out smart and staying on track will bring the pain level of moving down from wild jaguar attack to mildly inconvenient mosquito bite. It's still going to suck, but with some preparation and organization, you can make it suck a little less. The most useful thing you can do to keep from going completely bananas is to start early. Even if your move seems like it's ages away, you should start preparing as soon as you know the move is happening. This gives you the time you need to pack more intelligently, stay organized, and, most importantly, keep yourself sane in the process. Moving doesn't have to be as stressful as it's been in the past. Procrastinating until the last minute, though, is a surefire way to end up crying in your kitchen, surrounded by things shoved in garbage bags and a moving truck idling outside. Don't let yourself get to this stage. Start early. And if you can't start early, start now. Even one extra day of preparation can help. Although, obviously, more is better if you have the time. Stage 1. Months, weeks in advance. Starting off on the right foot will save you a lot of time and aggravation later on. While this stage is almost entirely preparation, it's still really important in the grand scheme of things, and will pave the way for more intense packing when you're ready for that. Starting early gives you the opportunity to do a little less work at a time and to avoid getting burned out. Start culling. This is the single most important thing you can do to make your move easier. Don't move things you don't want to keep. Don't move things that will eventually become garbage. Do not move anything you know you will not want or use once you move. If you think you're going to be discarding a lot of stuff or large items you can't donate, now's the time to arrange for a dumpster or recycling pickup. Now is the time to really go through and figure out which of your possessions aren't necessary or wanted. It's silly to move things only to end up getting rid of them once you're moved. Set up regular pickups or drop-offs. Many nonprofits have collection trucks for donated items, which makes it a lot easier for you to get things you don't want out of your house. A quick online search can help you find organizations that will pick up donations locally. Once you've decided to get rid of something, move it to a specific area, and make sure you move it out as soon as you can. If no pickup service is available where you are, designate a day to go drop off donations. If you have a lot of stuff, schedule a drop-off every week, or whatever interval is appropriate for you. Designate a staging area. When you get into the full swing of packing, you're going to want a system for dealing with your boxes that makes sense. Once boxes get filled up, you should have a designated place to put them so that they're ready to move without being in the way. Now is the time to set that space up. Prep the area by clearing other things out of it. Make sure you can work around it as you're packing, and just generally getting it ready to hold your boxes. Do something every single day. This UFYH mantra works for moving too. Even if your move is pretty far away, make it a point to work on one area or pack one box a day. When you start skipping days, it makes it that much harder to get back into the swing of things, and you'll find yourself with a lot of lost time to make up for. Keep a slow and steady pace, and don't be lulled into complacency by how far away your move is. That time is going to fly by, so make sure it's productive. Deal with your baggage. If you happen to have boxes that you never unpacked from a previous move, don't worry, everyone does, Now's the time to finally deal with them. I mean, come on. If you haven't opened or unpacked something in however long you've been living where you are, is it something you really need to be hanging on to? Open that box and decide once and for all if you're keeping the stuff or tossing it. Bonus, if tossing, you now have an empty box to use for packing and a bunch less stuff to move. Stage 2. A few weeks away to right before. As the move looms closer, you can start to prepare more intensely. By this point, you'll, hopefully, have gotten rid of anything you don't want to move with you, so you're ready to start packing for real. As always, starting out organized is going to pay off later, so take a little bit of this time to set up your systems in advance. It'll keep you on track as things start getting chaotic. At this stage, you don't have a lot of extra time to mess around with, so buckle down and commit to accomplishing a set amount every day to keep the last few days from being more than you can handle. Stock up on your supplies. You're going to need boxes, obviously, but also make sure you have plenty of packing tape, garbage bags, paper for wrapping up breakables, and markers. You don't want to interrupt your packing flow by having to run to the store. Put all of your packing supplies in one easy-to-access place, and when you've finished working for the day, put everything back in that spot. Don't waste valuable time by having to chase down your packing tape or wondering where you left the marker. Work methodically. Start with things you use infrequently, or that you know you won't need until after your move. Work around your home in a logical order so you aren't going back to the same area time and again. It may not be possible to finish a room entirely, especially if there are still things in that room that you need before the move, but do as much as you can before moving on to somewhere else, or consolidate the things you need into one area. Only handle each area once. Pick one drawer, shelf, square foot of floor space, or cabinet at a time. Deal with every single item in that space, whether you get rid of it or pack it. Once the space is done, clean it out. If it's a fixture that stays in the old place, you're saving yourself some time cleaning it off later. And if it's something that's moving with you, it's much nicer to unpack clean things. Going back to the same area over and over will waste your time and keep you from getting through the process quickly and efficiently. Doing one at a time also helps you stay organized, because you won't be constantly wondering if you left something behind in an area you've already worked on. Take breaks. The great thing about starting early is that it gives you a little more time to work with, and you can hopefully avoid burning yourself out. If you didn't start early, breaks are just as important to avoid becoming a giant stress monster. Moving is a stressful process no matter what, so put some effort into trying to mitigate some of that tension. Either set a timer or enforce breaks after one or two areas. If you start to feel like packing is all that you're doing, you're going to be even more unhappy than this process already makes you. Schedule in some time away from packing, and give yourself rewards for getting things done. The process sucks. There's no getting around that. But it's so much worse if it's dominating all of your time. Label everything. Everyone in the universe has advice on how to label packing boxes, but you need to know what's going to work for you. The most common advice seems to be color code everything, with a master list of contents that corresponds with each box. That is some next-level organizing skill that most of us don't possess, and it can be fairly time-consuming and confusing if you're not naturally inclined to it. Try just writing the contents on the box, and be specific. Rather than kitchen, use your marker to scrawl out kitchen, wine glasses, gadget drawer, serving platters. Future you will thank past you for being so thorough, and it doesn't require a master's degree in organization. Don't move boxes more often than you have to. Remember the staging area you set up in stage 1? Here's where it comes in handy. Once your box is packed up and labeled, seal it and take it to the staging area. The next time you touch it should be when you're loading it up to move. If possible, try to group boxes in the staging area based on where they're going to in the new place. That'll help when you're unpacking the truck on moving day. Pack up all but the bare necessities. You don't have to wait until the day before you move to pack your dishes and utensils and such. Separate one set of daily items for each person who lives in the house and pack everything else. When it's time to move, all that stuff can go in one box, and you can start using it right away in the new place. Everything else can get dealt with and packed up. Keep in mind, too, that you'll probably be able to make do in the short term without a whole lot of things you may currently consider necessities. If you can do without it for a little while, pack it up. Make a list of immediate needs. Figure out what you're going to need in the first 24 to 48 hours in the new place and make a list. As close as possible to moving day, pack a box with all of those things and label it clearly so that it's easily accessible once you've moved. Consider not just the obvious things like bedding, dishes, and clothes, but also things like a shower curtain, your medication, pet food, cleaning supplies for the new place, and anything else you'll need to establish your daily routine once you're in your new abode. Make a mental inventory of those essential items as you go through your daily routine in the time leading up to the move, so you aren't scrambling at the last minute to figure out what you're going to need. Stay on track. Resist the urge to throw everything into unlabeled garbage bags. It may be easier now, but it's not going to help once you've moved and it's time to unpack. If you are using garbage bags for soft goods, pillows, clothes, sheets, make sure the bags are labeled so they don't get mistaken for trash and end up in the dumpster. Even better, try to find clear bags so you can see at a glance what's inside. Avoid accidentally throwing out your possessions by taking trash out as soon as the bag is full. Make a plan for the little ones. If you have pets or kids, consider making alternate arrangements for them for moving day. It's hard enough to stay on task as it is, and worrying about leaving the door open or whether it's nap time will only add to your stress. Stage 3. Moving day. It's time! Moving day can be chaotic and complicated, but if you've planned well and stayed on track up to this point, things should go fairly smoothly. Plan for at least a few things to go horribly wrong, though, so you aren't too surprised when they inevitably do. Try to be well rested so you're better equipped to handle whatever comes up. Eat a good breakfast, stay hydrated, play some music if you can, and try to stay relaxed. Enlist help. This may go without saying, but the more hands to help, the better. Every additional helper cuts your loading and unloading time dramatically and relieves the pressure on you to do everything yourself. The time-honored tradition of bribing your friends and family with pizza and beer is helpful, as is any food really, but also helpful is reciprocity. Always remember the people who helped you move. You owe them. Put each box where it belongs. Since you were awesome and organized while packing, you know where each box's contents belong. Make sure that's where they end up. There's no sense in bringing a box into the house, putting it down somewhere, and then, at some later time, having to pick it back up and move it somewhere else before you can put its contents away. Just take it right where it belongs. Take a time out. You're going to want to get as much done as quickly as possible, and while that's definitely important, it's also important to give everyone short periods to rest and recharge. In addition, remember to eat, stay hydrated, and stay on schedule with any medications you take. You're in the midst of a big move. Your routines can get all screwed up, so make sure you remember the important stuff. Clean the old place. I get it. You can't wait to be done with the place, but leaving it clean and in good condition will minimize aggravation and increase the likelihood of getting your whole security deposit back. If you remembered to clean as you were packing, this step shouldn't be too terrible. If it's really horrible, consider hiring someone to clean, or see if one of your moving helpers would be willing to clean instead of hauling boxes. Regroup. When things go wrong, and they probably will to some extent, don't panic. Figure out the quickest and easiest way to address the problem, or delegate as necessary, and then get back to work. Some things will happen that are beyond your control. A broken-down moving truck is a sadly common thing that can wreck your whole move if you don't have a contingency plan. So make sure all of your details are clarified, and you have a backup plan just in case things go south. Stage 4. Unpacking. Once you're all moved in and surrounded by a fort of boxes, it's time to start the unpacking process. The sooner you get it finished, the sooner you can relax and actually enjoy your new place without all that work hanging over your head. Unpack thoroughly and methodically. The last thing you need is to have things lingering in boxes months after you move. Empty a box, break the box down and stash it away, and move on to the next one. Leaving half-filled boxes isn't ideal, not only because you have to handle the same box more than once, but also because your overall number of boxes isn't going to decrease as you work. Your goal should be to clear out the boxes and get the contents put away properly as quickly as you can. Start out organized. Designate a space for packing materials once you start unpacking, and make sure you're regularly taking them out to be recycled so the moving detritus doesn't take over your new place. Make sure everything stays in whatever place you've designated, and reset each area to clean once you're done unpacking for the moment. Work every day. Again, as with packing, aim for at least a few boxes or 20 minutes every day. If you get out of the habit of steadily unpacking, you'll find it that much more difficult to get started again. Slow, steady, and only mildly annoyed wins the race here. You still need to live your actual life amid all the unpacking, so do a little bit each day and then move on to something else until tomorrow. Step away for a minute. Unpacking can be as exhausting as packing. If you try to do too much and burn yourself out, you're not doing yourself any favors, and you're much more likely to give up partway through and leave boxes untouched and sitting around until the next time you have to do this all over again. Especially in the beginning, when you're likely to be dealing with a number of boxes at the same time, take a breather every once in a while. A new home is the perfect opportunity to start fresh with a clean, organized space. As you're unpacking, try to consider what setup is going to help keep you on an orderly path. Starting from scratch is sometimes much easier than trying to get an established mess under control. You have the chance to set things up any way you want, so put some thought into how to organize your new space in a way that works for you. Unfucking your...
And that's where we're going to pause today. Thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. Be kind to one another. Life is way too short. Hit the like, hit that subscribe button today so we can continue on unfucking our habitat.